Hey guys, welcome back to Our Stars and Stripes and Maple Syrup. We have a special guest today. No, it's not the idiot below me. It is Sunderland legend Gordon Armstrong. Gordon, thank you for turning up.
No problem at all, Gav.
And obviously, we'll give Sean a hello as well. All right, Shawnee.
All right.
All right, so not the best of games yesterday, the Burnley match. Gordon, obviously, you played for both teams. So did you have any kind of split loyalties going into the game, or was it all just I'm a Sunderland fan and bollocks to Burnley?
No, I wouldn't say totally bollocks to Burnley, but yeah, obviously I'm a Sunderland fan, so I wanted Sunderland to win. Other than that, I always look out obviously for Burnley results, and then they're a great club. They are a good setup, always have been, and it's good to see them doing well. Hopefully remount my chance to get back for the Prem. But no, there's only one loyalty in my heart, and that's something that's all I was shopping for. Right.
Well, we like to hear. All right, so kickoff was a little bit strange. Obviously, we knew Gooch was injured going into the game, but Roberts missing out with a knock was not expected. I don't think anybody realized that was going to happen in the run up. No. Do you think it made a big difference putting Ahmad out there instead of Roberts?
Yeah, obviously, he has got a lot of experience, and certainly not in our side at the minute. So that was a blow. Roberts has been playing really well. So it was a blow before the kickoff. But listen, that's football. You have to get on with it. We got a number of players out that probably would get in the first 11. But whoever players are fit, you got to get on with it, wearing the shirt. It's how it is, yeah. So yeah, a little bit disappointing, but yeah, we started really well and great first half.
No, it was a great first. So, Shawnee, what were your thoughts pre-match?
Can
I just interrupt you there, Shawnee? Is that your chair behind you?
No, it's my little girl's. Why?
Is it really? It's yours, isn't it? Be honest.
Which one? The pink one?
It's where you play with your dollies, is it?
The princess one, that's me, yeah, of course, yeah.
All right,
it's my Kevin Ball picture on the wall, the money But look, I mean, Ahmed took his chance, so you can't really. I wasn't really fussed that Roberts wasn't there, to be honest with you. I was concerned that Alessi wasn't playing. I thought, obviously, I know he's injured, but I thought the lack of physicality showed, didn't it, at the back, in my opinion, especially second half. So that was my concern at the back, and then obviously because he's brought in Trey Hume as well. I thought he was excellent. Him, by the way, first half. I thought he was really good. But he made a few changes at the back, didn't he? And he playing a top team, and that's worrying, isn't it?
I mean, if you look at it, we're playing Burnley, who were favourites to go up. Yeah. I mean, they came down. I was shocked they went down last season. But if you look at the players that were missing yesterday, just in the back four, you've got Ballard, Alessi, and Gooch. And then up front, you've got Robert, Stewart, and Sims all missing. And we said to Gordon before we started recording, normally you'd expect those 6 players to walk on the first team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, missing 6 players and still going 2-0 up in the first half is not a bad performance. And that
was a very good first half. Yeah.
Yeah, the first goal was really well worked. Gordon, what were your thoughts on that first goal?
Yeah, excellent. I mean, great play by Clark again, cutting inside and lays a great ball on Ahmad, who finishes it well, to be fair. So great start within 10 minutes with 1-0 up. Everything looked rosy, didn't it? And we were playing well at that stage, and I think it's been a little bit symptomatic of that the whole season, like we said before. And I think we generally come out all guns blazing and being the better side in most of the games first half. It's always been a little bit of a worry, and sometimes in the second half it's caught up with it a little bit. But certainly we can talk about it more as we go on. But we missed the lads at the back more than anything. Yeah. And certainly the biggest, I always say as well, the other side is like we miss Ross Stewart not only because of his attacking threat, but also the stuff that he does in our own box. He seems to head more balls away than anybody else from corners and free kicks against. He's fantastic at times. He's like 2 or 3 players. He runs everywhere. He works his socks off. He's not only a striker. He gives everything for the team. So he's going to be a huge miss for him from any team in the Championship, and he has been for us. But overall, this season, I think we've done better than anybody could have expected. The football's been good. The players that have been brought in by Christian Speakman and Stuart Harvey have all been excellent. I think recruitment's been good overall, and just disappointing. The only thing you'd say within that is all disappointed we haven't got another striker, maybe, but overall, it's been good to watch so far, and I've enjoyed them every time I've seen them.
No, and I know that we had on the Sunderland supporters group, we had Speakman did a talk-in with us a couple of months ago, and he mentioned that strikers had been a priority for us, and that we did have the agreement in place with Broadhead before he had a change of mind and went to Wigan. But we found out last weekend how that went for him.
Strange on that still. All right.
But so first goal was really nicely worked, and I thought the hustle that we had for the second goal was equally as nice, and it was a really good strike from Neil. And obviously, as a goalkeeper, the last thing you want to do is get beat at your near post, but he wasn't stopping that one.
No, that's right. I mean, it was in close, and it wasn't. Yeah, like you say, it was just a bit of a scramble of a goal, a bit of a mess of a goal, but a good strike from Danny, and it's good to see him get on the score sheet. I think he needs to add that a little bit more to his game. He hasn't as of yet scored enough goals from midfield because he's got that. He's got the legs to do it and the energy and capacity to score more goals from midfield. He's a lovely mover. He passes the ball well, but I would like to see him break in a box and score a few more goals. It's not something that loads of midfielders do now, to be honest with you, but I would like to see him add a few more goals to his game. All
right, Gordon. So let's talk midfield, because anyone who's watched the podcast knows that I'm not Corey Evans' biggest fan. I just can't work out what it is he brings to the team.
Right.
Not particularly fast. His passing is not particularly. He doesn't spray the ball around. He doesn't track back. He's not like he's not a Kevin Ball. He's not a Paul Scott. Like, I'm trying to work out what he brings. Now, obviously, we missed it against Wigan because it was a different midfield. But as a professional, obviously, you can see better what he brings to the team. Help me out.
I'll listen back and see what he brings to the team. At the end of the day, he brings experience, he brings a solidity, he knows his game, he knows his limitations, and I think he keeps it simple. There's a lot of players all over the place in all different leagues. I'd agree with you. Listen, he's not... listen, Kevin Ball would tell you he wasn't the greatest passer the world's ever been, but he could break the play up, he'd score goals, he was aggressive, and he was a leader. And I think, obviously, Corey brings that to the group as well. The players respect him because of what he's done in football. And, we haven't got loads of experience in the team, to be honest. So maybe there'll be quite a few people who say we probably need a few more like Corey Evans, really. Just settled, experienced championship players that, know the league and know how to get results and dig results out when we're not playing great. Which is, we've got a lot of young players, haven't we? And Corey brings that bit of experience. I wouldn't disagree. He isn't gonna, break open the defense with a defense split and pass very often. He just keeps it simple, knows his strengths, and I think he's a leader in the group.
Now, the one question I would ask you, and Sean, you can pipe in with this one as well, is obviously he looks as though he's been having a crack from distance this season. He's had a couple of shots that have gone towards goal. Do you think he'll get one before the end of the year? Will he burst the net?
Yeah, just to annoy you, I think you will. Nah, listen, look, I think like Gordon said there, look, I think yesterday experience was lacking. I really do, and I think at the minute we've only got him and Danny Bath who are experienced, and I think I kind of knock the lad. I think there's a reason that managers play him. There's a reason that there's a couple of managers play him. Like, managers pick him, and there's a reason for that, And I think he isn't the most glamorous, but he does a job, and I think you need that in midfield. So I've got no problems with him. Yeah, look, my mate's a Blackburn fan. When we signed him, all his legs have gone and stuff. But hey, listen, towards the end of last season, he was brilliant. I know you say he wasn't. I think he was. You say he was average. I think he was brilliant towards the end of last season, and I think this season, I think he's done okay. So.
You can't
knock the kid.
I think he's been more confident this year. I thought he was awful last year. I wouldn't have played him at all last year, but that's why I'm a fan and not a manager.
There you go.
So look, we mentioned before, the first half we pressed really well. We pressed high up, and we probably paid for that in the second half. But I think the one thing that came out of yesterday's game, both from an attacking and a defending position, was just how bad we are at set pieces.
At both ends, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help that we have, like, our squad has pretty much come from the Munchkin Academy, because I think we've got maybe 3 players in that starting 11 yesterday who were over 5'10".
Yeah.
And that includes the goalkeeper. What do you, I mean, when you got someone like Pritchard, how are you so bad at attacking set pieces? Gordon, you could hit a free kick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Pritchard's great on set plays and stuff. Yeah, but we're just lacking, yeah, like you say, height in the team at the moment, and that's again, you know, you're missing Sims, you're missing Stewart, another this Lacey, the centre halves and stuff. You know, so it's Bullard, all these lads are going to come in and give us that in both boxes. To be fair, hopefully soon. We need it. There's no hiding away from it, and we have struggled all year a little bit. I think, especially defending set players and stuff. We haven't been great. But like I said, get Ross Stewart back, and he heads more balls away than anybody. So we are lacking him in every area. It's costing us. And we are struggling. There's no. I don't think to be fair, Pato's been had a great season, done great. Shot stopping's been excellent, but it's not a strength of his neither. He's when crosses come in the box from corners and stuff, it's the one time I worry about him. But he has had a good season, especially for a young lad his age. He's done amazing.
No, I think Pato's been probably the brightest player for us all season. Even though he's a little bit suspect on crosses, as you said, overall he's hardly put a foot wrong. And when you look at the goals we conceded in the second half, there was nothing to do with at least 3 of those.
No, definitely not. No, the one that gets crossed in and goes in the back post, maybe you could whinge a little bit, but again, it's difficult because there's 2 lads I think went across and tried to hit it and missed it. So I couldn't blame him for any of the goals. Obviously,
I think that first goal, that one that went to the back post and got headed back in. I think I was more annoyed at Luke O'Nien just standing there watching the ball coming back in, and was late to try and challenge for it. And by the time he made a move for it, it was done. So
see, I feel again, Luke O'Nien. Listen, I hate criticizing him because he's so versatile in terms of look, he's not a centre back. We know that, and it's tough for him, isn't it? Kind of like Lyndon Gooch. I mean, he's played everywhere, Luke, hasn't he? Apart from in goal. I worked it out yesterday. He's played in every position apart. He's played centre back, right back, left back, midfield. He's played everywhere. It's just something that doesn't happen. Look, the last player I remember like that was Kieran Richardson, who practically played everywhere forward as well. You cannot knock a man who's in a position where he isn't, he's not a centre back. And I think it's starting to show now, isn't it? Especially in a back 4, I think, when he's only got one person alongside him.
Yeah.
I think in a back 3, not hide him, but you can make up for his mistakes more. When you've got like Elise alongside him, or Ballard or Bath. And you've got 3 or 2 of them along there. I think in a back 4, especially when you've got Hume, who's never played, and Sirkin, who he's just come back, you think it's going to be, he's going to get exposed. And I think he did yesterday. But look,
I mean, we had Justin on the chat last week, and neither of us saw yesterday's game or Blackburn game being particularly positive. Obviously, I mean, look, the questions that I would have is you've got Bailey Wright on the bench.
I was going to say, what's going on with Bailey? Has he played this season?
As a natural defender than Luke O'Nien.
He may as well not have signed a new contract then. I mean, look, he hasn't been on the pitch this season, has he?
No.
So you look at it and think...
Maybe only the cup game, I think, won it against Sheffield away, I think.
What would you think though, Gordon? Obviously, listen, in your position, what would you think if you've got a kid who's not a centre back playing a centre back and you're sitting on the bench as a seasoned?
Oh, you're not happy, no, obviously. But I mean, listen, Luke O'Nien has done well, and I think I agree what you're saying. He suffers because he plays everywhere, but what is his best position then? What is it?
It's true, yeah.
What is his best position? You know what I mean? Nobody knows really. Listen, the kid's he's not a fantastic footballer, technically, but I always thought he would be best in a 3. Is that's where his best position would be, because like you say, you can't not hide, but you can get covered by other people. And listen, if he gives everything. We all know we love him as a lad. He'll go ahead, kick it, he'll tackle, he'll do whatever it is to try and win. but he's not technically gifted, so I don't think he can play it right back, and I don't think he can play it really, especially not in the Championship anyway, in midfield.
Right.
So, yeah, he's suffering maybe a little bit now, I would say. Yeah, he's not in a forward, it's difficult for a minute. And Bass not like, I think Bass probably been our player of the season for me.
He's been brilliant, hasn't he?
So far, anyway. But Bass not quick. So, neither of them's absolutely lightning on the. Neither of them's, really, really slow, and you're not deadly worried about it. But neither of them's, rapid or anything, unlike Elise. So, he's maybe suffering a little bit because of that, and certainly because he is so versatile. I think he's suffered over time, Luke, like I.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough.
So we go off at halftime, 2-0 up, looking good, coasting as they say. And then 5 minutes into the second half, it all falls around in typical Sunderland fashion.
So, sorry, Gav, you're sitting at home, right? And you're just thinking, right, just see 15 minutes out.
I said that in the chat yesterday. I said if we can make the first 15 minutes through, I think
get the 60, 63, 65 minutes in and just frustrate them. And then you're thinking, yeah, we'll do it. We'll be okay because they posed off in first half. And then they concede it. And as soon as they concede, you just, I think I text you and I'm like, yeah, we're throwing this away back. Like, it was just the timing. You're thinking, not a chance, So
I think somebody said, like, to be fair, Burnley have scored more goals than anybody in the Championship from half time to about 75 minutes or something.
Yeah, I think
Danny Collins was mentioning that on the commentary. And if Danny Collins knows that on commentary, you would have thought that Mowbray would know that as the manager. And it's like you would have thought, like, just keep that press going, just keep it tight. Don't give them an opportunity to play. Don't let them break on you. And it's like we came out in the second half and it's like they left their heads inside.
Yeah, I think it's the only thing I'd say is it's really hard to keep doing the press for like 90 minutes. I always say it's a little bit. I do a little bit of coaching here and there. It's like sometimes you just got to drop off and and accept you're not going to have the ball for a while and just soak the pressure up, rather than keep trying to press. Is like accept that like they are technically probably a better football team. We're good. We're not bad. I'm not saying we're bad, but they're probably technically a little bit better than us. They got some players that play in the Premier League and all that. So but again, we conceded the first goal from a set play, and it was downhill from there, wasn't it? And like I say, we certainly could have done. Not probably, we certainly could have done with a few more of the experienced heads out there yesterday. To be honest. Right.
So that's another like when you need experience, like why don't you bring Wright in at fullback at centre defence, go to a 3, have Hume and Serkin as wing backs almost.
Do you know what though?
Consolidate at the back.
When do you do that though, Gav? Because look, if you do that at 2-0 up at half time, the whole ground goes, that's right. He's negative, the 2-0 up, that's shocking, that get a third. Why is he playing to see the game out? No, they do though, right? So when do you do it? And then even at 2-1, right? If you do it at 2-1, they think, he's panicking a bit. So look, it's a hard one because I thought yesterday, get right on going to a back 3, but at what point though? Because I would have probably done it at 2-2. I wouldn't have done it at 2-0 or 2-1 because I just don't think it sends the right message, especially when you're in control of the game, Yeah, no,
I'd agree. I'd totally agree, Sean. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it sends a bad message. You've got to be really brave to do that, to be fair, haven't you? And you've got to know exactly where your team's up to. That, like, right, we've got in here, we played well, but we probably, we're going to struggle a bit second half. They have got some talented footballers. They do keep the ball well. They're good in possession. Let's sit back and hit them on the counter. And like I say, the ground might not, like the stadium might not have that. But that was probably the way, looking back now, is probably the way we probably should have gone. But it takes a man to do that when you're manager of a Sunderland Football Club like that.
Because even if you bring on a Matete or a Bar or somebody more in another defence, then look, can you really take off Dan Neil, who's just scored and had a good first half? Can you take off Embleton, who I thought was brilliant first half? And then you're not going to take off Pritchard. So if you take one of them off at 2-0 down and put a defence, you're getting crucified in the ground, aren't you? So
the other side that I'd say is the one person that suffered more than anybody else, Ross Stewart not playing, is Pritchard. Like Pritchard was unbelievable while Ross Stewart was in the team, but since he's been out, he hasn't been the same player. He can pick a pass. At the end of the day, Ross Stewart makes runs for him. you know, gets in between defenders and breaks the lines and runs and gets in behind. And he's suffered more than anybody. He hasn't quite been the same player like Pritchard, to be fair to him. And I think, like I say, that's the reason why.
Right.
No, I mean, look, you lose a player like Stewart, who was unbelievable for us last season, had a great start to this season, was striking up quite a useful partnership with Sims, who's also out. And then you don't have anything behind those two players. You're always going to struggle, especially when you're playing someone like Burnley, who were, as we said, they were Premier League last season. They're favourites to go up again this season. We played Blackburn last week. Obviously, they're among the favourites to go up. We've got Luton coming on Saturday, who are doing really well this season as well. I think this was always going to be a run of games that was going to be testing for us. And I don't think we were particularly outplayed by Blackburn. If you look at the goals last week, their first goal should never have been, because we should have had a penalty. Their second goal's offside.
Yeah.
So we were unlucky on 2. But other than that, we fought well and we were level. I thought we were Blackburn's equal in the actual game. But that second half yesterday was men against boys.
Yeah, I think that's the first time this season, that second half where we've been, I think where you've looked and went, yeah.
Now, we were awful against Middlesbrough, but we knew that we were awful.
Yeah, but they were. I thought Borough were. I thought Borough were crap as well. Though that was the thing. We were shite, but they were.
But yesterday was the first time that we truly got outclassed for an extended period in the game.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Overall, I think everything's been really positive this year. No doubt about it. None of us really expected us to be anywhere near the top of the league, which we have been at times. We played good football. We got a lot of young players in the team. The recruitment's been good. Like Christian speaking and Stuart Harvey, you've got to take like a massive pat on the back for that. Everything's been good overall. We're just lacking a couple of players, and obviously key injuries again. Like, you can talk about it all night, you can say the same things. Yeah. But that's the truth of the matter. If you lose your best 2 forward, well, we're only 2 bloody forwards, but there you go. But yeah, that's massive for any football club. We should. That's the big argument, and I think we should have had one. It's all right saying we wanted Broadhead and we were going to get him, but when we signed Sims, we knew we were playing with 2 up front, and we signed him. I think the first game he played was at Bristol City away, where he scored. Yeah, we should have brought at least one in from there. Is for me 1, maybe 2, but overall, listen, everything's moving forward and trending in the right way with a football club. It's miles better than, let's be honest, than the last debacle of a crew that we're in.
Yeah, it is.
It's pleasing.
We've been speaking. I've been saying that I would like a nice, quiet season. I don't want to be worried about promotion in the playoffs. I don't want to be worried about relegation. And I think we worked out that you were playing the last time we had a nice, quiet season.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Well, that's what I always said. Everybody.
I think it was we were old first division.
We're trying to work it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It is like that's what I said. In the whole of my football career, not just at Sunderland, but every year I was either in promotion or relegation battles. And like with Sunderland, the only time I wasn't was the year we came up from like what is now League One, when we finished mid-table, I think, and then the year after that we got promoted. Every year with Sunderland it was one or the other. So yeah, it would be nice to have a nice quiet season and finish mid-table. To be fair,
it's part of the curse, but also one of the good things about being a Sunderland fan is that there's always excitement.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I think that's part of it, isn't it? It's never boring, is it? That's what I always say. Everybody, you always got something to talk about, haven't you? You know what I mean? It's like, as a fan myself now, is like there's always something. You're not just sitting mid-table and thinking, well, we're never going to go down. It's never been like that. There's always something to fight for. So let's hope it's not relegation this year. That's all.
I don't think it is. I think this was always going to be a tough 3-game spell. We've got 4 games now until the World Cup break.
Yeah,
that can't come quick enough, can it? Really?
Yeah, I got to be honest. I mean, it looks as though unless he's not going to be back before the World Cup, Ballard might be back just before the World Cup, but I wouldn't risk him. Stewart and Sims probably the same. I mean, it looks as though Gooch is going to be back on against Luton, and probably Patrick Roberts as well. His knock doesn't look too bad according to Twitter.
Ballard's back, wasn't he? I'm laughing at Mowbray when he goes, he's back on the grass. I'm like, what is he, a cow or a Rastafarian? What do you mean back on the grass? Like, he loves that one, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, when you're back on the grass, it basically means you're starting running, and that depending on your injury can be weeks, like, you know what I mean?
So, it's just funny the way he says it. He's back on the grass. He's not on the training pitch. He's back on the grass. you know. So, but
So one last thing on the match, and then we've got some questions for you, Gordon, about your career.
You know,
Second half is kind of as Burnley took over. It seemed as though Bath and O'Nien started to go for that long ball, almost as if we still had Stewart up front. And when you've got a team full of really sharp players, what's the point of that? I mean, is it just an opportunity to get rid of the ball and kind of move the pressure?
Exactly that. I think it's more of that. It's just a case of, you start to panic a little bit as a player. There's no doubt about it. You're 2-0 up, you're comfortable, everything's going your way, and then bang, bang, all of a sudden it's 2 each and you're under pressure. And you know, what do you do? If you pass it and give it away and make a mistake, which you obviously don't want to do, that's why the top players are the top players. You know what I mean? That's the truth. That's why they play in the Premier League. Is like they can handle the ball anywhere. And they're not. I'm not looking to look on O'Nien or Bath. They're both good players. They've both done well for us. But they're not fantastic footballers. And you know, like I say, you come under a little bit of pressure, and you do the thing that releases pressure. Basically, you try and get it up the field. And I agree, it's not a great thing to do when we haven't got any power or strength up top.
No, I like if we were getting beat with 3-2 against Burnley and you got Stewart or Sims up there who can hold the ball up a little bit and take some pressure off the back, then it's look, I can understand that. But they just seem to be just aimlessly punting it, and it's like when you're throwing the ball up to like someone like Pritchard, who's like 4'6", and it's like he's never gonna win it. It's like he's never gonna get past the man from a speed perspective. It just seemed kind of productive that they were just kind of like, well, let's just get rid of it for 30 seconds and then Burnley would build again and they come back at us.
Yeah, I think it's what areas you hit as well, isn't it? And how quick you get out. You know, I think if you're just going to aimlessly hit it and stay deep, it's just going to come. If you can hit it and get out, you know, look, it was tough. They were trying to do, obviously, look, they were under pressure and you could see it. And I think Gordon's right, trying to play football there. You know, if you give a pass away at the edge of your box, you know, the ground's up and you panic. So they've just reverted the type and went, look, let's just get long. Let's just get rid of it. And it's tough, isn't it? Because I know managers get shit, don't they? And you know, they go, oh, well, who's telling them to do that and stuff? Players have got to make decisions themselves. And, you know, I think half the time that, you know, it's not the manager implementing that, it's the players just making decisions themselves. And I think I'm speaking from a coach there, Gav, you see. I'm taking no blame. You know, I'm taking no blame, son. Don't worry about that. But look, it's a tough one, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's the first time we've come under pressure, really. I think so. You know, and these young lads are going to lose games of football. We've said that. You know, we've said they're going to lose, but they're going to win as well. So I'm not worried. There you go.
No, same here. I'm the same. I'm not worried either. Overall, I must admit. No, I think we've got more than enough to stop up, and I think we'll be halfway there. Might have an outside chance to get everybody fit. We could get in the playoffs, and that's honestly my truth of where I think we can finish the season.
Gordon, we don't want the excitement.
Oh, magic!
No.
Because Sunderland did sneak into sixth place on the last day of the season. Did get to Wembley, did win, and then we come back down with less points than we got the last couple of times.
Yeah. Listen, it wouldn't do anybody. It never does you any harm to go in the Premier League. I don't think.
Exactly.
But there you go.
But now you don't have the parachute payments when we come back down, though, do you?
Oh, true.
It should be typical Sunderland going up and we come back down the first year. There's no parachute payments.
I know.
All right, so Gordon, one of the things we've been doing since we started this is we do a cheeky little bet on the next match each week.
Right.
Last season, our money went over to, we sent a whopping 200 quid over to the Bradley Lowry Foundation.
Brilliant.
This year, one of the girls I used to work with back in my one-to-one days just lost her little boy on holiday, Oliver.
Sorry about that.
And so what we've said is that we'll just pull anything we can win between now and Christmas, and we'll make a donation to the charity, their GoFundMe just before Christmas.
Okay.
So we've got Luton coming up, and Luton's away next week. So just give me a score prediction.
Who we got? Luton, then who we got?
It's just the Luton game.
It's just a Luton game. Yeah, I think 2s each. 2-2.
2-2. Shawnee?
2-1 Sunderland. I think we'll win there. Luton, come on, how are man? Why are you worried about Luton for? You're having a laugh, aren't you? Shithole.
I mean, Luton is a shithole, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 defeat.
Oh,
Shocking, that. That's minging, that. What a bell end, honestly.
Look, I mean, look, I've got to be real. Like, if I'm going to be putting my money into it, I'm going to be able to get a chance to get something back for the charity.
It's Luton Town. Can you name two? Can you name two
no,
Luton
you got
players?
to keep it real.
Can you name two Luton players?
No, I can't name any Luton players off the top of my head. But I bet if you ask Luton players and Luton fans, can you name any Sunderland players?
Ross Stewart, they'll say.
I bet they could.
Hey, Gordon, well, listen, we can't get you on the podcast without going over a bit of your career.
Yeah, no bother.
So obviously you signed for Sunderland before your 16th birthday, I think it was.
What? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, very good.
So not that long ago.
Good time to do a bit of research, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're missing the flowing locks, Gordon. I got to be honest. You had a beautiful perm in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, scary, mate. Yeah, absolutely scary.
And
it wasn't the perm. That's the other side, Gav. I have to straighten you on this, by the way. It might have been really curly, and it might have been an absolute joke, right? I'd agree with that. But it wasn't a perm.
It wasn't a perm. Naturally curly.
Well,
look, you're not the only one who's losing his hair. This used to be a lot more.
Exactly.
Keep in mind, son.
It goes that way.
And now I have to wear the cap everywhere I go because I've got the golf tan, which I developed this year.
Yeah, of course.
So West Brom was your debut.
That's right.
Yeah, you came on as a half-time substitute, was it?
No, I started. Yeah, I played. Yeah, we had a few injuries, and I played centre half. I didn't often play centre half, but I played centre half that night, and I think we got beat. It was 2-1 or something like that. Yeah. I remember the game, how it went. Yeah, it was just the best thing in my life. Yeah, obviously at that time was I was 17-year-old, and to start for the first team was amazing. Yeah, and we should have won as well. To be fair, we murdered them, but I think we got beat. Yeah, it was a year we went down. We got relegated from Division 1.
That was the year that we lost the FA Cup. The League Cup against Norwich.
No, I think that was a year afterwards. The next year, I think.
No,
you might be right.
April 85, according to the internet.
Was it? Yeah, you might be right.
We just lost the Milk Cup.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, David Corners. Yeah, famous day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first time Sunderland made me cry.
I think it's the first time on this podcast, though, we've done research, or you've done research. It is, by the way. We normally just sit and wing every. Oh, how many goals has he got? Whatever, you know.
No, so I always have notes coming in.
Bollocks, not a chance. I'm impressed.
Match notes.
Very good.
Yeah, get in.
Very good.
So obviously, you scored the best headed goal any Sunderland players ever scored against Chelsea.
Yeah.
What's your memories of that?
That was a nice night. Yeah, obviously quarter final of the cup. Replayed at our place after we drew at theirs. Burnley got an equaliser later on, and we got mashed, to be fair, at their place, but we nicked a draw. And then we took them back to ours, and we played great on the night. Dennis Wise equalised with 10 minutes to go. We were all a bit knackered, to be honest, but then the famous goal went in. Yeah,
I tell you what, you didn't look knackered the way you turned away from that header and celebrated.
No, it was nice, because and then the other thing that people don't ever know is that, like, basically Dennis Wise got chucked out of our players' bar because he acted like an idiot after the game, so we got chucked out of there. So that was lovely too.
It's a wanker, isn't he?
Yeah.
How important was the crowd that night? Because I was a kid at that game, and I thought it was brilliant. I've never heard an atmosphere like it. So
yeah, I mean, like I always say to people, is like, listen, I've nothing against the stadium, but it's a fantastic ground, and then Bob Murray done amazing for the club to sort the new ground out and everything. It is fantastic, right? But Roker Park full up on a nighttime game, there was no better atmosphere anywhere, like, to be fair. And it was, again, that night was special. That's why I think there's two reasons. Obviously, people remember because of the goal, but also because the atmosphere was special, and it was just unreal. Obviously, they filled most of the other end as well, to be fair. Chelsea didn't, the Roker end, I think so. It was an amazing night, like I said.
I got my memories of that one. I was out in the paddock with my granddad and my uncle.
Wait.
And when Chelsea equalised, you got the Chelsea fans being the Roker end yelling, "Now you're going to believe us."
Yeah.
And then Atkinson puts floats that corner in, and that header goes in, and then they just go dead.
And
then it's like you realise what's happening, and then you're going ballistic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it was an amazing night, and the cup run was class apart from the final year was disappointing. Obviously, to get beat, and I've never watched it back since because I don't want to.
No.
But yeah, it was still great times, and you know, like Sean's got the top on there, and it's just that's one of the great things to remember by. I love that strip. So
this is the best Sunderland top ever. I think this is my favourite one. It's class.
Yeah.
Hey, can I just ask Gordon, who'd win a fight, Wisey or Barley?
Oh, there's only one winner. Barley would eat mine.
Because they reckon Wisey's hard as nails, you know.
Yeah, he might be hard as nails, but he's only tiny.
Good lad.
I don't know now. Like, to be fair, they both might limp into it. To be honest, I know Barley's struggling with his knee and that. Like, so I don't know why. Both probably knackered now, but then when they were younger, I back Barley.
Nice one.
So, Gordon, obviously you played for us for 11 seasons. You had your testimonial against Porto, was it?
That's right. Very good, Gav.
I was at that match.
Well, yeah, very good. Good lad. Thank you for the tenner.
What is like? Obviously, Reedy came in, and that was at the end of your time at Sunderland. I think you'd played, what was it 95, 96 was your last season with us?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then I went to Bury after that. Yeah.
Was it a tough one to leave?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I never wanted to leave. I could have left a couple of times. A couple of clubs came in for me, but I never asked to leave ever, and I didn't want to. It just came to an end. I had a few injuries and bits and bobs I was struggling with, and I was released by Reedy, which was totally fair enough. I hadn't played that season, like I say. I didn't realise, but my back was knackered. It was only the year after I got to Bury that I realised what I'd done to my back. To be honest, I did that at Sunderland, and I'd have an operation on my back and fused my back and all that type of thing. So
you had to carry some pretty crap teams in your time. So I mean, I can see you having a bad back.
Yeah, there was some interesting times. Yeah, that's for certain. Yeah, that's for certain. Mr. McMenamin's era was interesting. Like we said, it was never boring, was it? You know, there was plenty of mourning going on and stuff, and deservedly so at times, to be fair. But we had some great times and we had some bad times, but it was never boring.
I got to be honest. Even as a kid, like my first season ticket was the 3rd division season.
Yeah.
And it was never like even though you know some of the football we're gonna play is dire and we're gonna get spanked. I never didn't want to go to the match.
No.
Now that I'm in my late 40s and it's like I only have to shuffle 20 feet to come into my office to watch the game, and I'm like sometimes I'm like, I could just go play golf.
Yeah.
Like I'll watch it later.
No. I think when you're a kid, it's totally different. It's an absolute pure love, isn't it? I was exactly the same. I went all over the country following Sunderland. Like, to be fair, I went to home games and as much as I could. I didn't have a season ticket. We didn't have loads of money, but I'd go with like Martin McFadden, who does a Love Supreme. We were like best of pals. Like, we went all over and watched games. So I've been here, there, and everywhere and watched games, and it is different when you're a kid. There's no doubt about it. It's like I say, you don't have any bias. You just love Sunderland. You haven't got great opinions on anything. You just know that you love your football club, like.
And I got to be honest, when I went, so obviously as a kid, you start going where your parents, or in my case, my granddad used to take me. And so walking up in the paddock and you'd see the pitch from the sideline was always a good view. But then when I hit 13, I was able to go to the matches on my own. I was like, right, just get to the forward end.
Yeah.
And then you go the back steps and you see the ground from the forward end. It's different.
From a full end, and it's totally different. I mean, I like the paddock as well, to be fair, but I went in there a bit. But when I first started going, it was the Roker end, but it was the Roker end like full size, not half size. So I used to stand right at the back of the Roker end, right up by the floodlights, to be fair. So seeing some amazing games, like, to be fair, like West Ham when we got promoted and things like that last season anyway. So yeah, you know, it was just the great times. It was a different smell around football grounds and stuff. I always remember, like,
Bovril and piss.
Bovril and piss, exactly. Yeah.
You used to feel used to feel great, didn't you? Remember that when you were in the Roker end, and then I'd say to me, Dad, I want to get in the full. No, you've got to wait. And I'd always want to be in the full one. And then you get in the full one and you think, it's like your promotion. You know, you think, I'm here now, I'm staying here as well. I'm not going back in the Roker end. So
I never actually went to I went to the full end. I just stopped in the road. I was only a kid, so I just went with my mum and dad, really.
Right.
A few times in the paddock, I got free tickets when I was a schoolboy. So I used to go in there a bit,
The difference between you and us is when you're in your upper teens and like when we're going out drinking and watching the game, you're sitting on the bench. Are you playing?
Aye.
Yeah, no, listen, I was a lucky lad. That's what I always say. People always come with the question, would you prefer to play now? And I just say, look, I was a lucky lad to play football, simple as. I loved every minute of it, and there's no better, at the end of the day. You play, especially when you're playing for a club that you love, you know what I mean? So you can't have it any better,
So, Gordon, what are you doing right now? Are you still involved in the game? I know your LinkedIn says that you're in, not an agent, but an intermediate.
Yeah, an agent. Yeah, no, that's what I am. Yeah, football agent. Yeah, so I've looked after players since I jacked in, really. So when I finished at Burnley, I got a few players from there, I looked after Robbie Blake, Graham Alexander, Richard Chaplow, so a few of them players that I've played with, sort of thing. A few of them anyway. Glenn Little, who's a really good player as well, to be fair, a winger. So looked after all of them, and then that's what I continue to do. Still do it now. It's a lot tougher now because there's so much money in the game. It's quite ruthless, shall we say? But yeah, that's what I've done since I've jacked in. Yeah, for 20 odd years.
And you still get to see the lads play.
Yeah, so go everywhere. I go all over. Yeah, I watch Sunderland as much as I can. But I'll go watch the lads that I've got as well. So I'll probably watch Sunderland at home probably 10 times a season, probably half the game, something like that. And then I'll get the same away sometimes, and yeah, go all over watching Sunderland as well still.
Well, we really appreciated you coming on for us today.
No bother at all. Enjoyed it, lads.
So thank you very much for that. And maybe we'll have you back for the return Burnley game.
Yeah, smash it. Yeah, give us a shout. Yeah, Gav. No worries at all. Good to speak to you.
Tony, you got any questions for Gordon before we shoot off?
Just one obviously from the modern day coaching game, right? Because obviously I've got a coaching business in America.
Right. Let's show you. Do you want to just give us the name of the company, Sean?
Black Cats Football Club.
There you go. Lad, I like it.
But listen, joking aside, look, I watch a lot of the old school stuff, right? Like because they're saying now, there's no characters in the game. You can't tell play even in the youth level now that I'm in, right? Like. Yeah. They say, you can't raise your voice at kids now. You can't shout. You can't tell kids off. Do you think that's true? Because obviously when you played, right? Look, you would have had roastings. You would have had Reedy. You would have had managers who just give you it and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think it helped? Do you think it was a hindrance? Do you think the modern game's soft? Because obviously you look at managers now in the Premier League and think, which of them have got a roasting in them? Do you think it's important or do you know what I mean?
I think at the right time it is, yeah. But listen, the world's changed a little bit, hasn't it? Kids are different. We were sort of brought up that way a little bit, all of us. My dad wasn't a big shouter or nothing like that. Right. But he'd certainly point things out to us if things were, he didn't agree with. But yeah, I think the world has changed. It is a little bit, whatever you want to call it, and the word is basically soft, really. The world's a bit softer. It is young kids just don't get that anymore. It's not what they've been used to, so not what they've been brought up with. So I think, listen, the biggest thing, I do some coaching as well. I think the biggest thing is the most important bit is you've got to encourage kids at the right time. That's the most important bit, and that's how they thrive and get better. If you encourage them, it's amazing what they're going to achieve in it. That's the biggest thing. Like I say, there is times once in a while where they've got to have a kick over the backside and be told things, but overall, I always go back to when I look at coaching, right? Although we don't like it, right? The truth is probably the best era in the Northeast, and I don't like saying it myself because I hate them more than anybody. But Kevin Keegan was probably the best era in the Northeast for football, right? Their team. Now Kevin Keegan wasn't a great coach. He wasn't tactically aware, anything like that. He just encouraged players and he gave them belief. Yeah. And probably the best coach I had was Dennis Smith. It was exactly the same tactically, probably. Well, he wasn't brilliant tactically, but we went out and we would knock the door down. We felt 10 foot tall when we walked out that door to go on to Roker Park, because he gave us such belief and he believed in all of us. So I think that is still the number one thing in football. Yeah, there's loads more bits and bobs around it now, and there are loads of people working for them, or even in anything you're coaching and stuff. But the most important thing, if you encourage somebody give them belief they can achieve anything. Like,
yeah, because I think when you the modern game, like you look at Mowbray and think he looks like he wouldn't stand for any crap, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Lee Johnson or you look at like Jack Ross, sorry, and think, oh, he didn't have a bollocking in him. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. And then I've been watching the Wrexham documentary. I don't know if you've seen it. And you look at Phil Parkinson, and I didn't think he'd be out in the dressing room. The way
Yeah.
his language and the way, like, you know. So
I bet he's
don't
no
know,
Bobby Saxton though.
You what?
I bet he's no Bobby Saxton though.
Oh, he was
That man
just
could
Bobby
swear in the Olympics. He could.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
exactly, and everybody's different. You have your own ways, and what works for you, and you've got to understand how you fit into that. You know how you are, and you've got to be comfortable with what you're doing. Don't try and do something that somebody else does. Do it your way at the end of the day. If it works for you, that's fine. And there's loads of different types of coaches. You look through, like you say, and even the Premier League, there's all different types of characters in there. What works for you.
Yeah. Nice one.
All right, then, Shawnee, there you go. Well, thank you very much, Gordon, for coming out. We appreciate your time. Shawnee, thanks for waking up in time for...
I've got a game at 9 o'clock, mate, so I'm good. I can get off.
Good luck, mate. Good luck.
Cheers. I need it with this team, by the way.
All right, guys, that's all we've got time for this episode on our Stars and Stripes and Maple Syrup. Don't forget to subscribe and like and do all the things that keep this one going. Thanks again to Gordon and Sean, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers, Gordon. Thank you.
Cheers, lads.
Gordon, thank you very much. All the best, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, lads. Ta-ra.
Yeah.